Okay, day 4 of the Marketing Dojo. Onegashimasu. So welcome. This has already been a fun and intense week. We have the normal crew, Yolanda hosting us, and Erica to add some feminine yin balance to the force. So we are here to serve you once again. In today's 45-minute session, we will once again review what is marketing and how marketing is a good thing, to keep brainwashing you on that. And we will look at some of the stuff around niching we looked at yesterday and take that particularly today into social media. What is it? What is it not? What is it good for? How to use it? We may do a little bit of somatic stuff along the way. So, you know what? Day 4, sometimes the enthusiasm is waning. So let's do a bit of enthusiasm pose, also known as fuck yeah pose from the EYP system. So I'd like you to pull your heart up towards the gods. Open your arms to the side, open your mouth. Okay, let your head go back and everyone say in their first language, yeah! Beautiful. Okay, so welcome. What has been the core message? The core message that Uncle Mark has been pounding away all week. What is the core message? Put it in the chat. If you're on YouTube, welcome. We will have someone there that can transfer questions and things as well. People have been asking me, how do I get into the Elite Dojo group? Well, you buy something from me. That's how. Okay, so this Elite Dojo group on Zoom are all customers. If you become a customer for anything, you join this group for the rest of the year. Good. Okay, I have a sandwich. People that haven't tuned into day 1 are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Marketing can be fun, it can be play, and in its pure Jedi form, it is love. Why is marketing love? If someone said to you, what do you mean marketing is love? Isn't marketing just lying and selling people shit? How would you explain that marketing is love to the uninitiated who haven't been here all week? Someone new who's just come in. Hey, Caroline in Berlin. How would you describe that marketing is love? And it seems like kind of a strange claim, doesn't it? It's kind of a strange claim. Whoa. Okay, sorry, I just completely got rid of my screen there. Then I pressed the wrong button. If you have, that's if you have a gift, something nice, something good, and it's your gift and how you share that. So that's marketing. Yeah, we can think of it as long-term relationship building. We can think of it as trust building. We can think of it as just telling people how you can meet their needs. That is a nice thing. If Yolanda said, I'm cold, I could say, did you know there's a jumper over there? Yeah, even better in marketing terms, did you know I sell jumpers? Would you like one? Okay, so this is a series. Someone has asked me, not a one-off. However, I review every time, so to bring everyone up to speed. Yeah. So our basic idea here from Marketing Dojo, that's the main message. Obviously, in the paid course, we have many models, much more than this. But the one thing I wanted to get across for free for everyone is this idea that marketing can be love. That you don't have to be an evil business person. That in fact you can have the Jedi rather than the Sith way of doing things. And that is just telling people you have a sandwich. So in the words of JP, you're not that fucking spiritual, get over yourself, okay? It's my boy JP there. So marketing's love, simple. And not only that, not marketing is a deeply selfish, horrible thing to do. And you good people, whether you decide to do the course with me or not, you are gonna market yourselves and put your gifts out into the world because you're not assholes. That's the key piece here. You're going to let people know how you can help them. Here's the next piece that we looked at yesterday. You're not letting everyone know and trying to help everyone. Yeah? Why not? Why aren't you going to try and make everyone love you and be your friend? Won't that be nice, Erica? If everyone thinks you're brilliant, won't you then be happy and feel good inside? Why are we not going to try and be all things to all people and be everyone's yoga teacher, everyone's therapist, everyone's hairdresser, whatever? Why not? It's about the fit. Yes, and you are all very fit indeed. It's nice to see such a bunch of fitties. So the fit here. Oh yeah, we'll get the guns out. We're talking about the fit. I'm sorry, I've been at the gym lately. The fit is the idea of a match between your needs and my genius. Okay? Your needs, and you're saying you're a genius. Who do you think you are? You're English. I still have that voice in my head. Believe it or not, I still have that voice in my head that says, don't say you're a genius. People will think you're a wanker. Okay? The truth is, I am a wanker. I just embrace that. It's okay. So the fit is you have some genius. You have something that you're fucking awesome at. Okay? Now that might be being a yoga witch or being a particular kind of aikido instructor or whatever, where that genius fits someone's need. Now the need is both the problem they want solved, but it's also who they are and their style. So the problem we're solving here is I want to learn about marketing. I want to learn basics of marketing, right? Or I need to change my mindset about marketing so I actually do something, okay? But the fit is more than that. The fit is you like bad jokes and shouting and swearing and my particular type of insanity, you know? Or, you know, you could read Seth Godin's book on marketing. Seth's brilliant. I love Seth Godin's book. Give it a read. He's someone I recommend. Okay, but Seth's got a, you know, clever New York intelligentsia. Yeah, it's a good book. There we go. It's a very different style to me. Yeah, it's a very different style. Or George Cow, I've mentioned several times. You know, George Cow. I listened to his podcast earlier today. Very good marketing teacher. He gives some bonus content to my course. Actually, he's a friend of mine. I'm always making jokes. He's business towel with George Cow as his joke at the moment, and I said it could be called no bull with George Cow. I said it should be called, which made him laugh. But he's got an utterly different style to me. Yeah, George is slow and Californian and sensitive and soft. He's much nicer than me, much nicer. Yeah. So the fit is about the problem you solve. That's key. Remember before you were telling me about what you did and I said, I don't care. I don't care. Remember when we talked about my niece yesterday? Okay. And the coach was saying, well, I do this. I was like, I don't care what you do. Tell me the problem you'll solve for my niece. Yeah, normally for you or your child or whatever it is you're buying for. Okay. The problem you solve for who? Okay. And in what way? The how, the flavor, the special sauce. And we've brought Erica in because she has a very different special sauce than me. And the last thing I'd want of you is you covering yourself in Walsh sauce, okay, which I don't recommend. This metaphor is going to get bad, isn't it, Erica? Erica, should I stop the metaphor now? Okay, no, well, it was a metaphor. It was about hot sauce. Like, I wasn't. What's wrong with you people? My God, where did your mind go? Okay, so the special ingredient is you. So if you're not, this is getting worse, Lucy. If you're not you, you're not even giving the special. Erica, help me out here. I've dug a hole I can't get out.
Oof. Well, one thing is if you're you and you're about the fit, then you don't need to compete. You don't need to pretend to be someone else. You don't need to, because you're unique. So if you don't like competition, just be more and more you.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. I love competition, but I guess that's a bonus. Yeah, sweet. This is
very nice.
Good stuff. Okay, so niching means you don't also have to compete on price. You're no longer a commodity. So unless your yoga class is a bit special, why would they not just go to the nearest one? Right? Make sense? Whereas if it's a bit special, they'll go across town, they'll pay more money, they'll be more loyal, they'll tell their friends. So there's some serious advantages to niching. The person I recommend on niching is Tad Hargrave. His niching spiral is very, very good. Okay, so I've learned most of what I know about niching about him. And also we talked about it being a process. Like Erica took about a year to find your niche, right? And I was coaching you, you're reading Tad, you're working your way through it. So do you want to say a little bit about that journey? Because I think it's kind of interesting as a case study.
Yeah, gosh, I'll try and keep it short. Spend a period of time in the wilderness, search your soul, give up, and then follow. I would say I look to my own history. Why do I do the thing that I do now? Because it served me. How? Who was I a few years ago who might need this? I sort of untangled my own wound and then came through to, and initially it was around women and burnout that I was very interested in. And then there was a really key moment where we said, but why are these women burning out? And it was like, oh, because they overgive, they people please, they they overextend themselves, they can't say no. And we were like, what is that? And it was like, they're too nice. And so that was the sort of journey through from being sort of having a vague sense to it being much more pinned.
Once you got that phrase, women who are too nice, everything was easier. Like how you were selling, who you were selling to, you know, what colors the website would have, what pictures should be on the website, all the how of marketing, and it just so much easier from that moment on.
And to say for people that are a bit lost with that, once I found that, the rest had its place, you know, those times where it felt a bit lost and I wasn't sure where it was going, it all came together. And I see that in other people as well. So just to say that if you're at that stage at the moment.
Yeah. Good marketing, there's a few ways to think about this, but coming from your pain is very, very helpful. So there's a reason I don't teach courses on confidence. I've always been confident. I don't know how to teach it. It's never really been a pain for me. Okay. I can teach courses on marketing, however, because I remember what it was like to be rubbish at marketing. And that was sort of far enough in the past that I have some competence. You know, I have a few things like the conference under my belt to prove it. Okay. But it was close enough that I go, yeah, I can relate to you guys. I can empathize with you guys. Empathy, remember, is the key of marketing. You know, one of my mentors said, sell to yourself 5 years ago. I thought that was good. Not 5 weeks ago. Okay. 5 years ago. Yeah, and your pain shouldn't be like, I'm still crying about the thing. It should be like, oh, I remember what that was like, and it touches me, and I'm motivated to help others, but I'm not like drowning in it. Yeah. Okay. You hear this, follow your bliss, and that's true. Notice what lights you up, but there's also follow your heartbreak. That's the other side of it. Okay. What's the thing that for whatever reason you have to do something about? You have to change that thing. I mean, this is life purpose stuff, which is next month's course anyway. This month's course is on marketing. We're going to look at social media. So often people ask me about social media. It's been a big part of my own success and almost downfall. I've certainly seen different sides of it. I would say, for example, on the Embodied Facilitator Course, every year, maybe a third of our students know me through Facebook. So significant. That's tens of thousands of pounds of business. Okay. I've used Instagram. I've used YouTube. I haven't used TikTok because I'm not 13. I am aware of Twitter, though I never really took to it. I could talk about some platforms better than others. So first of all, to say a couple of things. It can be incredibly powerful, but you don't have to do it. Everyone will tell you, oh, you have to be on Twitter. No, you don't. You have to be on Facebook. No, you don't. Okay. So the key question I would say is, there's a couple of questions. One is, are your audience there? Wherever there is. Instagram. I sell to yoga teachers. A lot of yoga teachers are on Insta, right? So I started doing Insta. Is my audience on, what do the kids use these days? Is it TikTok or something else? Snapchat or whatever. Like most of my audience aren't on Snapchat. So it's not like I'm not missing a lot there. And my audience on LinkedIn? Yeah. Next thing I would say is there a way for it to be fun for you? Okay, like for a long time, I really enjoyed Facebook. Eventually a pit of snakes and I decided I didn't enjoy it. But there was for a long time, I used to really enjoy Facebook. Yeah. So I would be on Facebook, not on Twitter, because I tried Twitter and I didn't enjoy it. Now you could give yourself, a month or 3 months or 6 months to get competent at something. There's a curve. If your audience is there, it might be worth at least doing that experiment. I'm going to go on Twitter every day. I'm going to tweet at least twice a day. And I'm going to do that for the next 3 months and see if I like it. Yeah. The other cost benefit analysis is how much time and emotional energy does it take for what it gives you back. Okay. So for example, that equation changed for Facebook for me. Now it took quite a lot of time, but it was often time when I was just standing around, or people would like read these Facebook posts of mine that I'd literally constructed while taking a poo in the morning at 8 a.m. and never really, it didn't really take a lot out of my day. It was just like when I was standing in line or going to the toilet or something, right? Like literally, I've seen thousands of people discuss things that I've said while taking a poo. So it's really quite strange. So a key question is how much time and energy is it? Eventually, Facebook for me became like too much energy. Like this isn't a good use of my time anymore. Also, emotionally, it became draining. There was a time when Instagram wasn't full of conflict, but Facebook was. Instagram caught up, unfortunately. Okay. Now I've outsourced to Sarah and Harley, so outsourcing is an option, though there's an issue with outsourcing, which is authenticity. Okay. So I still write my Facebook posts. It's just Sarah posts them. So that's my solution to having less time and less emotional draining and less risk. There's real risks out there. Okay. But I still get to talk to my audience. The problem is this, there's not much conversation now. So what all social media is really good for is not sales. Okay. If you're using social media for sales, you're doing it wrong. What it's really good for is building relationship. And remember, that is marketing. All right. That is trust building. So when someone's seen 50 Facebook posts of mine, they feel like they know me. If I've interacted with them, even better. So now I've lost that interactivity. That's a loss, but I've gained in less emotional and less time stress. Make sense? So this is the equation you need to run for yourself. And no one can tell you should be on Insta or Facebook or anything. You've got to decide for yourself. Is my audience there? If they're not, that's a no straight away. Can I make it in some way playful, enjoyable, creative, fun, in line with my values? Right? I think I've given a lot of value on Facebook over the years to people by, connecting people, saying inspiring things, making jokes, whatever. I'm sure I've pissed people off too. I know I have, but I think I've given more than I've taken in that sense. So that's aligned with my values. And for a long time, it was fun. I was just playing. There wasn't like some Machiavellian strategy to it. I was just playing. Yeah. So for me, it was play for a long time. When it stopped being play, I stopped doing it. Then the emotional drain. And I think ethically, we need to really consider that many of these social media platforms are set up to make us addicted, to give us that grabby, Moorish quality, and to potentially to drive us into kind of polarized cul-de-sacs. Does it make sense? So this is part of the ethical equation that I didn't immediately realize. I'm not 100% anti these things still, but I've certainly got a different view than I had 10 years ago. That being said, I'm still very grateful. Without Facebook ads, the conference wouldn't have happened. We couldn't have done the conference without Facebook ads. The beauty of something like Facebook ads is it's very targeted. Yeah. So you're not spamming people and you pay less for an advert. A billboard by the side of the road is effectively spamming most people. And you have to pay a lot of money for it because you're paying for all those eyes that are actually a complete waste of time. Yeah. For building relationships, social media can be really good if you invest the time. Are you replying to people? Are you conversing with people? Are you, and this is always the same thing with marketing, demonstrating value by being generous? So who here has got some value from one of my social media posts? Just give me a wave. Maybe it was a tip, maybe it was something funny, made you think. Okay, so that has built trust and relationship with you. So pretty much everyone here put their hand up, right? And I'll give you an example. There's other ways to do that are more broadcast, like my podcast. Who here listens to the podcast? Get on iTunes and give me a review. I've had 2 reviews in the last year. I need some reviews. It's good for my rankings. Please, it really helps me out. Thank you. Reciprocity, basic principle of marketing. So the podcast is broadcast, so it builds trust, but it doesn't build a lot of relationship. It could do another function of social media, which is to bring people in. Okay, so you can bring people into the conversation. So Erica can have a Facebook group for women who are too nice, and people invite their friends, right? Anything you want to say about that, Erica? Like what works for you, what doesn't work for you?
Yeah, so yeah, to reiterate that, give value, but I'm using it slightly differently, I think, to the way Mark has done, which is I have an open group for women who are too nice. So women can come and join. It's a private group, but it's open for anyone to join. So no, they don't have to have done a course with me or anything before. So they can come to that group. And actually that's a really nice container, because one of the ways of thinking about marketing is like the role that you want to have in a community and like the depth of relationship you want to build with people. And for me, it's like I like long-term deep friendships and connections. So having a group on Facebook is very good, and it could always be taken away at any moment. So it's like those people also need to be on my email list, you know.
We're actually exactly the same. We just do it in a different style. Yeah. We both build relationships. We both give we both need to, we both build trust. The only difference is I use the word fuck a lot more while doing it, right? Like the style is different, but the principles are the same. I'll give you a good example. Ranko, can I use you as an example, sir?
Yes.
Okay, when did you start following me on Facebook?
Oh, it's years.
Like 10 years, I think, maybe.
Could be, yeah.
And when-
Even before Facebook, I found some links about you doing in Ethiopia, and then found you on
Wow, that's
Facebook.
really far back. And so let's say at least 10 years on Facebook. And when did you first come to a workshop of mine?
A year ago.
Okay, so 9 years of relationship building. He kept popping up. We're talking to each other. We're sharing links. You know, he's going, oh, this guy's kind of interesting. And then at some point, he got in his car and drove from Croatia to Slovenia for a workshop, right? And now he's my groupie. He's a regular. He's here for everything. He's going to buy stuff. And you know, Renka's example is, I'd say, fairly skeptical guy, right? You're like it took you a little while to build trust.
Yeah.
People from traumatized countries, by the way, build trust a lot slower. That's a common thing. So thank you. And like also now it's how I keep in contact with him. So it's not just how I got him to become a customer. It's also how we keep connected. So, you know, he every now and again, he'll see an Instagram or a Facebook and go, oh yeah, there's that British guy. He does cool stuff. You know, I wonder what he's doing. Oh, he's got a new book out. Cool. Well, I'll buy it. Right. So it's a good example of the long-term relationship building, trust building. And, you know, for me, I want people that buy my stuff like Ranko, who here's my test. Do I want to go for lunch with them in the lunch break on my courses? If the answer, no, it doesn't mean I want to marry him or move in with him, but would I at least like to hang out with him for lunch? And the answer is yes, in this case, right? The other people I recognize here too, you know, like Lucy, I'd happily have lunch with Lucy. If the answer is no, I go, well, is this person really my customer? Do I really want to be with this person? Does that make sense? Now, it's a different level of filtering from who you marry, right? It doesn't have to be quite that intense, but there's some kind of like, is this person in my group? Is this person someone I want to hang out with? You know, because work is hanging out. Yeah. So that's a good example of long-term relationship building. You can only build real relationships if you're authentic, right? Or else what are you building a relationship with? Yeah. In terms of how you offer value, let me show you a few ways to do it. One is just useful. So some useful thing. That's clear. Like I'm giving away useful marketing tips. Yeah. Another one would be touching. Some people like that, more like emotionally touching. Another one would be funny. Okay. So, and another one would be provocative. It's probably not going to get attention if it's not one of those four. And each of those four has like I probably overdid the provocative one at times. And interestingly, I got this weird reputation for it, even though it's like 1 in 20 posts of mine. Most of my posts are like, here's embodiment. Here's a picture of my niece looking cute. Here's some nice aikido thing that I did. And 1 in 20 would be provocative, but that's the one people would remember, particularly polite English people. Yeah. Yeah. It's quite nice for me when I go to Israel and people say, oh, you're so polite. Or I go to Russia. In Russia, I was teaching in Russia once, and someone said, Mark, a very good workshop. Enjoyed the first half. One thing, you are a little politically correct. This is Russia, baby. You can relax. I was like, really? So, you know, it's all fucking relative, isn't it? It's all relative. They literally took me aside and said that at the lunch break. I was like, okay, well, fucking, I'll drop that whole being nice to people thing. So, do you like my Russian accent? This is excellent Russian accent. I do very well Russian accent, yes. Okay, so they're the 4 basic things, but the most important one is authentic, offering value, building long-term relationship, and not trying to just sell, right? Imagine if someone just like burst into this group and was like, buy my stuff, you'd be like, go away, I don't know you. That's what it's like in groups when, you know, we're in the conference group or the I don't know, open embodiment group or the EYP group, and someone just turns up and they're like, come to my workshop. Who are you? You know, I don't even know you, let alone trust you. So that's spam selling, right? So if you think that social media is just selling, you're doing it wrong. Is it making sense? Let's open it up to questions. So social media questions. Funny, touching, provocative, useful. If in doubt, be useful. I'm not going to do groups versus page. Generally, I like groups, but they always change the rules. Yeah, few people get to see Facebook business pages. That's true. They want you to buy adverts. That's why. But they've shot themselves in the foot, I think, with that. Clubhouse. People are enjoying Clubhouse. That's the hot new one on the block for sure. Lots of people talking about that. Can you be a combination of the four things? Yes, you can. You can definitely be a combination. I'm often sprinkling a little provocation in my usefulness. Good, good, good. Yeah, so the few people get to see it because of visibility. So some of the posts I do are mostly about engagement. So if your audience are engaged, other stuff is visible. Yeah. Like literally some people do this, quite cynically, they're like, what did you have for dinner? Then everyone comments and then their next sales post gets seen. Okay. So and this is another reason, like, this is going to upset some people. Email is 100 times better than social media. Okay. Like if you gave me a choice between my email list and all of my social media and said, I'm going to destroy one, I would in a second say destroy the social media, like in a second. Your email list is much better. Why? There's at least 3 reasons. So I've got 5,000 Facebook followers now and 5,000 friends. That's 10,000 people who see every one of my posts. No, they don't. Maybe 500 people see out of those 10,000. Yeah. Also, it's someone else is in control of that. I've been banned from Facebook before temporarily. Who would have thought it? I don't fucking trust his platforms as far as I can throw them, and I do aikido. So it's really, I don't trust any of these platforms anymore. You can be deplatformed for very small things. I was banned from Tinder the other day. Outrageous. And no recourse, So it's very easy to be banned from things. You're not in control of that list. Your biggest asset is your email list, okay, not your social media. Social media is an adjunct. I tell you what it's really good for that might not be obvious, feedback. So one of the things I say to Sarah and Harley, I'm like, how are the kids? How's people doing? Are people liking the ethical marketing course? What's the vibe? It's like a temperature check, right? And, she'll get, or we'll do, hey, which of our logos do you think is best? Or which of our book covers do you think is best? For community engagement and for getting feedback, it's brilliant. Like my publishers, fucking idiots, don't get this. They're like, we think this is a good book cover. And I was like, how many people have seen that? They're like, well, me and the person who made it. I'm like, well, I can instantly let 500 people see it. And they're like, yeah, that looks like a neo-Nazi sign. I'm like, let's not use that one. Like you have no idea until you test something. The time to test it is not when you publish a book for thousands of people. Put it on Facebook first. Have you seen my first book with the jumpy guy? We tested that, and then we tested it again, and then we A/B tested it with like this versus that. Facebook was so good for that, right? And here's the other cool thing. Not only did we get value from you guys saying, don't use that picture, you look like an idiot, use that one, it's much better. Not only did we find that out before we published the book, right? On top of that, everyone that was involved in that voting process felt more engaged, felt more like it was a little bit their book. They belonged to something. They were part of something. Like the conference had 500,000 people had signed up, but it had 50,000 people in the Facebook group. And those 50,000 people gave us all the feedback we needed. We didn't have to poll everyone. We just got, okay, people care about this. People like Gabor Mate. People don't care about this. People want more of this. They want less of that. Oh shit, we're spamming them too much with emails. Okay, let's change that. It's really good for keeping connected. Yeah. So I would say that is more what I think of the genius of social media. Getting to know your audience, finding out what they like. Say, hey, there's 3 titles for my next workshop. Which would you be most likely to come to? Please vote with likes. Can you all do that? Simple thing, right? You don't need to be a genius to do that. Cool. Any other questions? Hate people asking my opinion. What about a blog? Okay, so what could a blog be good for? Building trust and authority. So a blog could be, here's the other thing why you need to love what you do and lead with generosity. most of what you put out is going to be ignored, particularly if you've done it for less than a year. Okay, you can have a blog and it can have 3 readers. Yeah. So if you like blogging, if blogging is helping you think, helping you articulate your ideas, or you like Facebook posting, great. Don't expect immediate responses. Interestingly, what I think is like my best stuff, often no one cares about. I did a 45-minute video on trauma, stress, and COVID the other day that I thought was absolute genius, that I'd spent months thinking about. I thought was some of the most original content out there in the world today about this subject. 196 views on YouTube. Bleh. Yeah. Well, I was like, seriously, you motherfuckers, you know? And another time I'll just put out some, you know, my poo posts that I'll just send, hey, Sarah, put this out. And it's thousands of likes, you know, it's like, what the hell happened there? How did that happen? So but that's part of the learning curve, right? We're in this constant feedback loop of learning, you know? George Cal's pretty good on social media. He recommends things like do a post. If people like it, improve it. If people really like it, turn it into a course. So then you've used your social media as a whole process of marketing, right? To test the audience. So I'll do a post and Sarah will say, oh, everyone really liked that one. You should write more about that. And then it will turn into a book chapter or something, right? Yeah. Cool. You're late on that topic. I don't understand what that's in reference to. Is daily posting a must is one of the questions that I think has come in from the YouTube. Regularity is. Okay, so to be known in a community, including an online community, but this equally applies to networking groups, magazines, whatever, you need to keep showing up. Okay, so often I'll see people say, oh, I tried Twitter, it didn't work. I'm like, how long did you try it for? They're like, 2 weeks. I'm like, it's not enough time, right? You have to keep showing up, whatever the thing is. So this is why I think you have to like it, because if you don't like it, you're not going to keep showing up, at least a little bit. So yeah, regularity, showing up, consistency, I'd say is absolutely key here. Yeah, and remember what I said again, you don't have to do social media. Like if you're like feeling guilty because you don't yet have a Snapchat or an Instagram, don't worry about it. The key thing is you have some way, and this is, let me give you a diagram. Who likes the slides? I don't normally do slides, but I've added a few. Okay, so you need this. This is all of marketing. I wasn't going to teach this, but never mind. So you need some way of making strangers become aware you exist. Social media can be good for that. Yeah, you need some way of people who are aware of you to realize that you're relevant. You need some way to capture, is not a word I like, but have ongoing permission to keep talking to them. That's like a friend request. Much better though on an email, right, than a friend request, because you've got more of an open rate, you've got more, you're in control of that, you can actually email them. There needs to be some way they actually get engaged and in some way can buy from you. If you try to jump into level 4 on social media, you've missed like 3 dates. Yeah, it's way too much too soon. Okay, committed by, then you've got trust. We're probably not using social media for this. Probably at this point, people are on your list, they're messaging you. Social media is more, I would say, for 1, 3 to 4. Meeting strangers who can become customers. Social media could be good for that, for sure. We can also think in terms of like, and this reinforces everything, does your social media build your authority? Yeah. Does it establish you as knowing about your field? Now, the reason I've got the punk guy on here is authority isn't about like dressing up smart like a, you know, businessman or an airplane captain or whatever, right? It's about being trusted by your community. So that dress of a punk has more authority in his community to talk about punk music. Does that make sense? The other side of this we can look at is safety. So you can think of all marketing as about building safety. Do people feel, because every purchase is a risk. Even now, even if you're here for free, right? Maybe you haven't yet decided I'm going to invest in myself and buy the whole course. By the way, it should be on the thing below if you're watching on YouTube. We had some technical issues, so maybe you can tell us if you can see the salesy thing below. It would help us out. But even spending your time here before you spend any money, that's a risk because you're risking your time. Okay, and that's a precious resource. So, you know, I appreciate it when people come to free things. It's not like, oh, no, you owe me. It's like, no, you're giving your time. Safety is, it's more than not ripping people off. It's like, for example, I sell embodied coaching, right? But there are people who come to me and I say, you know what, you'd be better off going to Wendy Palmer. She's a better fit for your needs. She's a really good teacher. I recommend her. Totally different style to me. Why don't you go to see Wendy? Makes sense? I'm not gaining anything. I'm not getting a percentage, but that builds safety because it's like, here's the key thing actually. Do I have my customers' interests at heart, or am I simply trying to extract money from them? Right? Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a good fit for me, I would like your money, right? Buy the course. It will be good for you and me. That's a win-win. I get the money, you get the course, everybody's happy. Okay, that's the beauty of capitalism. We exchange something for more value than we have. Both people win. However, if it's not a win-win, I don't want your money, right? If you'd hate me in my course and wouldn't get any value from it, or I don't know, let's say you were a marketing expert already, or why would I want your money? It's just going to waste your time and then you're going to resent it and that's going to cause me problems as well. Actually, truthfully, there isn't such a thing as a win-lose. There's only a lose-lose or a win-win. A win-lose is in the short term is possible, in the long term, not really. Yeah, I can take your money, but then you hate it and then you slag me off to 10 different people. You know that? If you piss someone off, they tell 10 people. It's like I end up losing in the end. You know? So, I mean, even if you were just sort of purely selfish, you should be looking for the win-win. So that is a felt sense, I think. Whether I'm abrasive like me or nice like Erica, there's still a felt sense of that from someone. Like, is this person trying to objectify and use me to get money out of me? Yeah. Or is this person, yes, they're selling and that's allowed because this is business. But if I'm not a good fit, they're trying to determine that too. And they might even send me elsewhere if they're not. Makes it. Someone was trying to give me their money earlier for mentoring, right? And I realized that what they wanted mentoring on, I had a conflict of interests around. They were wanting to design a product that I kind of had an idea for myself. And even though they wanted to give me money, I was like, I don't think I'm the person for you. I think you need someone in the tech space who's going to help you better and doesn't have this conflict of interests. Make sense? Notice the tantra here is we're all greedy. No, not me. No, yeah, you're fucking greedy. We're all greedy. So all of us are, this is a very old metaphor, we're all tempted. All of us are, like, you're like, no, I'm not. What if I offered you £1 million just to lie a little bit about your yoga class? Right? So the key, we're all corruptible. Again, I'm using quite old school language. You don't have to get super Christian about this, but, and that's the tantra of business, is noticing when you get corrupt. Noticing what do I mean by corrupt? I mean, you lose your heart and your values and you start chasing the dollars. And that happens in a small way before it happens in a big way. You know what I mean by this, Erica? You come across this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think another way would be when we come from scarcity, when we come from like, oh my God, there's not enough. And, you know, either that can be our personal situation, like the financial side, or it can be when we slip into, I don't know, competitiveness or kind of graspiness. Then we can slip into it and we can, you know, and we can feel that in our bodies. And like Mark says, sooner or later, that other people will feel that as well. So that's a practice in itself. Coming back, it's okay. You don't need this sale if it's not right. Trusting there'll be another one, you know, I think it's really key. And I think as well, it links to the social media as well, Mark, in terms of the sort of trauma lens, which is like using the social media as like lots of avenues for people to get to know you, see you, feel like, it's like all of that is like a trauma sensitive approach to marketing, right?
Right. So to me, I invented this term. I'm pretty sure I gave it to George and Tad. It's one of the few things I've given them back for all their learning to me, is this idea that when we're traumatized, trust is broken because safety in the world is broken. I noticed the sales pattern in Russia was different from England, and it was to do with more people had a trauma pattern. in Russia than England. Yeah, because it's a more traumatized country if you look at the history. So what that means is the same stuff around authenticity, relationship building, trust building over time. It just might take a little bit longer. There might be more scarcity, more cynicism, more need to get to know you first. And all these points of reference, like today is a point of, like, who's been here 3 or 4 days out of the week, right? You now either know you like me or dislike me, right? You're either like, yeah, fuck that guy, he probably wouldn't be here. Or you're like, yeah, I'll probably buy one of his things. Maybe I'm not going to buy this one. I don't have the money right now, but I might buy another one, or I might tell a friend to come, you know? So it's like after 4 sessions, you're probably at that point. I mean, it took Ranko 9 years, right? But he's a cynical motherfucker. Like some of you, it might be 9 days, 9 weeks, 9 months, whatever, okay? So it's like, actually, interestingly, Ranko's probably loyal as a friend and customer in a way that someone that took 9 days isn't. Yeah, like I bet you if someone's slagging me off, Ranko's like, fuck you, how dare you, that's my friend, right? I bet he's had those conversations. Because it's those people who build trust over time actually end up often being really fucking good friends, you know, like really good customers. So it's not necessarily a bad thing when people need that extra space and time, okay? Okay, so there we go. In terms of stuff we haven't covered, we've got the last day tomorrow. We're going to be looking more at long-term relationship building. There'll be more time for Q&A tomorrow. Anyone who buys the product by the end of today gets access to not only tomorrow to be part of this, but we're doing an extra session next week, an extra session for Q&A. So far, I think about 50 people have bought the thing, which is, we expect at least 200, 300, something like that. So people still don't buy because it's 50% at the moment. The time when most people buy, and usually, actually this is good to know, is when the price goes up. It's as simple as that. But if you want to buy now, you get into that extra group, so you can ask, you have your questions answered. The price doesn't go up to next week. So if you're just thinking about it, this is trauma sensitive too. Don't rush. Yeah, the pushy way to do marketing is to say, buy now, buy now, buy now. Oh, one chance only, right? We're giving you like another week. Take your time, check your finances, you know, look at some more of my videos. There's some of the videos on YouTube, by the way, from the course, if you want to check it out. If you want to say, like, wow, you know, look at the sales page. It's got like what's on there, what isn't. Like check, like go through what's on there. Maybe someone could share the link to the sales page on the YouTube group as well, in case that problem we had yesterday has come back. Like, look what's on there. Go through it and say, okay, do I want to learn, I don't know, do I want to learn about SEO, Facebook ads, PR? Do I really, you know, I didn't cover websites. Do I want to cover more on mail? That's mailing list stuff's really fucking useful, actually. Do I want to look at sales pages? Do I want to think a bit more about visuals? Now, obviously, we can't cover all this in the time we have. So go through there and say, is that good for me? If it's not, no problem. I'm still your friend. This is fine. It's no problem, right? If you go through that and go, okay, I really want to know what that means, or I really think that's going to be useful for me. I really want some, I don't know, embodied exercises to support some of the stuff Erica's been talking about. Got like a whole load of embodied exercises in there that are super useful, that are best done kind of on your own in a private space without loads of people on YouTube. Then buy it if you want it. I would say as well, it's an investment, and there's a thing there, which is if after a year it hasn't helped you make more money, you can get a refund after a year. So it's not a get rich quick scheme. It's something that takes a bit of time. My advice actually would be never trust anyone that says, if you do this marketing technique, you'll make loads of money within a month. Never trust them. That's a smash and grab approach. And I'm much more long-term relationships. A year, though, is enough time if you put it into effect. Like if you think a year from now, it's going to be next January, 2022, no matter what this crazy world's doing, I can be in a better place financially. I can be a better place in my business. I can be helping more people. And that's something I notice in my body doesn't make me nervous to tell you. That's one of the ways I know I'm being ethical in marketing is I say something like, if you do this, a year from now, you can be helping more people with your work. And I go, yeah, I didn't stop breathing when I said that. Like, that's probably going to happen. So yeah, no promises, but I think probably would. Cool. Good. Cool. I think we're about on time. So why don't we just finish by wishing each other well rather than another sales pitch. So have a look on the screen. look at the nice people, people being vulnerable, people taking time to learn something that is maybe difficult, that is maybe not your favorite thing in the world, but you know can help your favorite thing in the world. People who are decent human beings. Hey, Joyce, nice to see you. Joyce in Austin, didn't see you there. Hey, Sean, nice to see you, Sean, in Australia. What's the time there? Human beings trying to learn something that maybe doesn't come so naturally. It's kind of brave, it's kind of vulnerable. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Virginia, Dana, you're my peeps. Okay, go away now. Peace. Peace, fuck off. That's Mark Walsh right there. Peace, fuck off. Peace, fuck off. Peace,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Eric.
Thank you, everyone.
Same time.